Well, welcome everybody. We've got a good number of folks who are here already, and we're going to give them a few more minutes to continue to show up. But like I mentioned, this is a very special occasion for all of us. Like this is our first ever one, so we would love any sort of feedback that you have after we're done with this meeting. Like I'm going to work on getting this video in a place that I can send out to the rest of y'all, so you can share within your offices if you want them to see it as well. But one thing that I would definitely encourage is ask all the questions that you've got. That's what we're here for. The point of this live presentation is to interact with you guys. So please don't hesitate. Annalise and I are going to be keeping an eye on the chats, and we'll probably do our best to interrupt Dan. He's been doing demos for a while now, so I want to see if I can stump him. That's actually my goal of this. So ask your difficult questions, and if we do happen to stump Dan, we'll just have to get back to you by email or something. If everybody wants to take a second to kind of like tell us where they're from, that would be awesome. You can post it in the chat. Personally, Annalise and I both have the pleasure of working together out of our home office in Denver, Colorado. So that's where we're out of.
And I'm here in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. The chat's disabled. All right, thanks, Diamond. We need to get that fixed. That's on me. Let me make sure we open that up. Good call out. But Diamond's from Winchester, Virginia. So are you all like actually close to each other, Dan?
It's Winchester is probably a good 2.5, 3 hours from here, maybe even 5 if traffic's bad. But I have to say, beautiful place to go visit if you ever get a chance to.
All right, so I'm gonna play with the settings while you're talking, so people don't sit here and listen. Y'all, for now, you can use the Q&A feature. Thanks for pointing that out, Diamond. We'll get that fixed. So very grateful. We'd love to hear where the rest of y'all are from. You can post that in the Q&A. But as it goes, like I said, ask all your questions. We'll interrupt Dan. We'll hold him for the end of the meeting. But either way, we'll make sure that you get them all answered. So that being said, let's go ahead and kick off with something fun that I've liked to do with these in the past. I am going to share a would you rather poll quiz. And this should have gone out to all of y'all. We'd like to know, would you rather have the superpower of flight, invisibility, or talk to animals? And Mr. Sparkles, I'd love to know what your choice is on this one first.
Oh, talk to animals all day long. My dog is never more than 3 feet away from me. I feel like she's picked up at this point a lot about insurance, and I'd really like to pick her brain on some of the finer differences between the BOP and the commercial package policy.
Your dog. You think she actually talked to you about that?
I feel like she's picked it up. She's a smart girl. I mean, she's daddy's little angel over here. Um, and at this point, she's got a pretty broad background in insurance.
All right, man. I do feel a little bad for her. I keep a couple cats, and I don't think either one of them could care less about insurance. Even though they hear my wife is in insurance as well. She's an underwriter. So we talk about it all day. Yeah, they couldn't care less. Annalise, do you have a preference?
I think I'm gonna go with Dan's also. I would like to have a conversation with my dog, even though I feel like we telepathically communicate. Having some words would be cool.
Yeah. Well, listen, y'all, I want to fly. That's what I want to do. I don't know that you'd ever see me here in the office again. Like I would just quit work and that's all I would do with my life is just fly around everywhere. I think that sounds amazing. Well, we got a decent amount of answers in. In order to get this going, I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll. And I hate to tell you, Dan and Annalise, but y'all are not in the like you're nobody agrees with you. We almost won with flight. I think if we add my vote to it, flight is the big winner today. But thanks for indulging me in that for a moment, y'all. So go ahead and kick us off. Let's do some introductions so you can kind of meet the team. Many of you here that are in this webinar have actually already worked with us to some extent before, so it's good to see you again. But this may be my first time meeting you. So my name is Jason. I'm running our distribution here at MGT, and I've had the pleasure of working with agents for my entire career. So when the opportunity came up to come and build something that was super agent focused at an actual carrier, not just an MGA, which is where a lot of my background is, where we can focus on tech and making your life easier as an agent, I jumped at the chance. And then the added bonus to that is working with these amazing teams that's on the call as well. So it's been really great, and I can't wait to get to know our agents a little bit better. Annalise, you want to go next, and then we'll kick it to Dan since he's going to present for us today.
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Annalise, and I work in broker and customer success. Kind of a career service person. I love helping people. I love serving people. So anytime you guys have any issues with the platform or questions about MGT Insurance, you can always email support at MGT Insurance, or you can give us a call, and I'll be the person answering the phone and walking you through any questions you have. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And Dan, you want to kind of call out some of these responses that we've had before you kick off too?
Yeah, let's take a look here. Oh, so it looks like we've got some folks all over. David, see you out here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Ken Smith in Hope Mills. My memory serves right. Is that in the Charlotte area? I spent a lot of time out in North Carolina when I first got started in the industry. And then I see Cameron from Lubbock, Texas. So thank you all for joining us. Love that we can have a group here, pretty much coast to coast. That's awesome. And so, quick intro on me. I've had the pleasure of working with several folks who are joining us in this webinar already. So, thanks so much for taking the time for us. I have been in insurance now for about 10 years, mostly on the wholesale side, and always in a role where I was directly working with agents, kind of hearing some of the day-to-day struggles, sharing some of the joys and, some of the heartache of those BORs too, but not too much. And over the years, just really have gained a lot of appreciation for the role you all are playing in protecting your communities. And when I got the opportunity to join the team here at MGT, take a step kind of out of that middleman role and more into a direct role of helping find great coverage for great small businesses. Got to see some of the things that we're doing and hear some of the plans that are coming through the roadmap. I was just really, really excited to take on this challenge. And, just super quick, special thank you to all of you. This is very early days for us, and we will be a household name before too long. And the way we're going to get there is really the partnership of everyone on this call. So thank you again for the opportunity to work together. And with that little sappy bit said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump into the fun part. So I have got this pulled up to mgtinsurance.com, and this is where our journey starts. To actually log in and start a quote, you would just click sign in here in the upper right-hand corner. Or if you're already signed in, click where it says hi, your name. That will take you into our dashboard, which does exactly what it says on the tin. This is where you can start new quotes. And then you're also able to manage the business that you've been working on with us previously. So you can see quotes that you've run. You can also click into the policies tab. We do have, I'll highlight this really quick, a lot of self-service capabilities built into the platform. So in a lot of cases, for some of the simple service work that lands on your desk, like pulling deck pages, filling out certificates, updating payment information, you don't have to come to us, please, Mr. MGT, can I get a certificate? We put the power in your hands to take care of that stuff and also empower policyholders as well. They'll get access to the platform after their policy is bound. So when we click around in here in documents and communications, we can see all of the different communications that have gone out on this policy. So if someone says, for example, hey, I didn't get a receipt, is my coverage even in force in the first place? You can go here. Hey, looks like we sent that receipt to you on January 28th at about 2:30 p.m. Check your spam folder. Sometimes they get caught there. And you can also create certificates and download deck pages right from this page as well. Going back into the account, just show you a couple other things you can do. This is a little appetizer before we jump into the real demo. You can update things like your payment information, mailing address, email addresses, all that stuff, right in here, just super easy. And then also in the account page, you can download policy documents, make sure these are in force. Just some quick information available, and then download that deck page as well. So a lot of great stuff you can do there. And then to get back to the main dashboard, I'll just click the name up here. And so let's jump in. To start a quote, the very first thing we'll do is put in the class of business. And good news here is you do not have to memorize every single NAICS code we support. For example, if you're talking to someone who runs a doctor's office, type in doctor. That will pull up all of the different subclasses so that you can find the one that's going to be the best fit. So once you find one that looks good, click on that. You'll see the description of the business right here. Just a good opportunity to kind of check in, make sure that looks complete and accurate. And this is also a great way to do a quick appetite check. For example, say you were to want to quote a liquor store with us, come in here, search for it in the keyword search, and that's going to pull up a little message and let you know this isn't currently available. So, before we have done any actual work on this quote, you already know MGT might not be the best solution here. You can continue your search.
But real quick, Dan, y'all keep an eye on that. That particular class, we should have available here for you within the next few weeks is the hope. So
I'm going to have to find a new one to bring up on my demos.
you are. Well, I mean, that's a good one to feature once it is live.
Absolutely. So just real quick scroll through here. I won't pause and list every single class code, but just want to give you an idea of the breadth and the scope of what we have available. Once we find a good code that we want to use, we'll click that. And then the very next thing we'll do is we'll start to put in the address here. So I'll just select this one and then we'll click go to go ahead and start the quote. And in this next page, this is kind of where we get the table set for the different coverages and different questions that we're going to have, particularly around the building. So very first question is going to ask, do you wish to insure any of the buildings at this location? You'll say yes to that if they own the building. You might say yes to that if they're on a triple net lease. Otherwise, you probably want to click no here. And then it will ask a follow-up question, are there any condominium units that you own? If you say yes, it's going to preload the forms with improvements and betterments coverage instead of building coverage. That way we'll make sure in the event of a loss, everything's covered the way it should be. So if there are no buildings and no condo units, then the platform will know this is a rental unit. We need to do the tenants improvements and betterments or just BPP coverage. So now I will go back, and instead of making you all watch me type in every answer along the way, I'll just pull this one up that I have pre-filled. So a little bit of Julia Child's TV magic here. You go ahead and click continue.
The best references, Dan. I love it. Y'all, the other day he referenced what was it that you told me about? I Love Lucy episode.
Lucy.
I was supposed to, yeah. I'm getting up there, but I had no idea. I couldn't quote it by episode. I love it, Dan. It's fantastic.
So quotes with us are 4 simple steps. In step 1, we'll just enter in some basic information about the business. So we've got the class of business and the address pulled in from the last page we were in. We'll enter the name, contact information, gross sales. Just for everyone's information, we can write up to 5 million in receipts for professional and medical offices and up to 3 million in receipts for most other classes of business. Then we'll enter some information about the business owner. Now, the reason that we ask for this, it kind of gets into the magic of MGT. We're running a lot of different checks, some scoring, kind of doing some research behind the scenes, which we'll get into a little bit further down the process. But this information about the business owner is making sure that our searches are accurate. So funny story, we're on the call here with Jason Johnson. We have got another insurance agent in Colorado whose name is Jason Johnson. So how could we tell the two apart? It's actually only by birth date, and potentially phone number. So that's kind of why we're asking that. If you don't know it, put in something. We can always fix it when we go to bind, but you'll only have a bindable quote at the end if all that information's accurate. Then the last thing on this page, just adding any additional locations that we'd like to insure. We can support up to 3 additional locations for a total of 4. And so then we'll click continue. And in the next page, we'll just start providing a little bit more information about this business. This is where we can set the effective date. We'll say what year it was established. And I have to highlight here, we write new ventures all day long, every day. So bring them on. We'll enter the entity type, number of employees. We have got some information about their insurance history. And you'll see here, none of our insureds ever have claims. So this one's coming in with 0. But if we do have some claims that have occurred previously, then we can enter some information about those as well. And you'll see if we've got 1, it's going to start collecting some additional information. If we've got 2, it'll start collecting some additional information about both. And if we put in 3, then it's not going to ask for any additional information. Once we hit that continue button, that would likely be a decline just due to claims activity. But up to 3, up to, I think, 10,000 total payout, we can still take a look at it. We're happy to review those. And so then we'll go ahead and click continue again. And we are all done now with step 1. In step 2, we will answer this horrendously long list of eligibility questions. We've got 4 here. That's pretty lightweight. And really, even these are not like super heavy on the eligibility. Home-based businesses will refer just so we can get a sense of what their business is, make sure we're comfortable with it. If they're operating seasonally, that might refer just so we can make sure all their limits are accurate. If they are displaying fine arts, rare items, or antiquities, that might not be the best accounting office for us. And then if they are sponsoring or co-sponsoring special events, we ask that because we actually are able to include coverage for the special events on their BOP policy, including host liquor, if they are serving any liquor at their events.
That's something I'm particularly excited about. A lot of that stuff that you just listed out, it's not an easy fit in a lot of different markets. And for us as a carrier to be able to offer it, I'm excited to have that for our agents.
Absolutely. Back in my early days in surplus lines, we would do a ton of special events policies, and it might take 30, 40 minutes, to even quote a small, easy one. We're just able to include it on the BOP, knock it out, move on to the next thing on your to-do list. So in step 3, this is where we'll start to collect some information about their different locations. Very quick tip for everyone on this call. I see this happen a lot, where you will, in that first page, select, yes, we want to insure a building, click through, everything's looking great. Get to this page, oh wait, that's a rental unit. We don't need building coverage after all. Good news, you don't have to restart your quote. In this very top drop-down box, just select business personal property contents only. That will update your quote, take out those building limits, and let you proceed just with the BPP only quote. So really cool little feature there. Beyond that, it's really just collecting some pretty standard information on the building. You'll notice here, if you are paying very close attention, we're actually not asking for the construction year. And that is because we don't have a maximum age of construction. Now we are writing all of our properties on a special form. We're looking for nicer, well-maintained locations. But if they've kept up with the updates and it's an older location, that might be a great opportunity to make yourself look like a rock star by offering an MGT quote. So some more quick questions here. Last thing to highlight is that we do have a built-in replacement cost estimate. This is just pulling some of that data that we've already entered, kind of crunching the numbers on what a average cost to replace a building like the one we're quoting per square foot in that location would be, figuring out what that replacement cost is, saving you a bunch of time from having to go run those replacement cost estimates.
Before you move on, Dan, there's another really nice feature, and I know that it appeared at a different stage as well, but here you can add an additional building. And to my experience, a lot of competitors in the market are making you do completely separate quotes for that, completely separate policies, but not at MGT. We can get those listed on the same policy. So that's another way that we kind of stand out that I'm excited for the agents.
Absolutely. Great call out too. I could see that being an administrative nightmare if you've got 5 policies for one person. Make life easy on yourself is what I say.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, we'll go ahead and click continue. And then in this next page, we can add any additional insureds that we need to add. I'll just give this a quick yes so you can kind of take a look. We support the designated person, leasers of leased equipment, managers or lessors of premises. We are able to add a bunch of other different additional insured forms as well. You might need to reach out to an underwriter just so we can make sure we're comfortable with that exposure if they need this weird additional insured form. But I welcome you to do that. We've got a great team here, and the one thing they love most is helping agents. So from here, we'll click continue again. And now we are actually all done with step 3. If you get to this point in a quote and you see check, 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 3 big, green, beautiful check marks, that is an eligible quote. We have asked at this point anything that would impact the eligibility. And so now we're just going to add some optional coverages.
Hey, Dan, we got a question in from Diamond. Do we have property only policies available at this time?
That is a great question, Diamond. We do not have property only. We write everything on BOP forms.
But one thing that I will call out, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, is as we grow, Dan and Annalise both mentioned this earlier, like we're somewhat in our newer stages. We want to grow to be a partner with you as well. So even if we don't have those things, we love that kind of feedback because we will take it back to the team and we'll see what we can build for you. So if you need a market that you're not finding anywhere because nobody else is offering it for property only, let us know those sort of things. We love to hear them, and we will actively work to see what we can do to build them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great note. Just to kind of circle back on, the beginning of the demo, our underwriters, their first instinct was not to start offering liquor stores on an admitted BOP, but we were getting tons of requests for that kind of business from our agents. And so we looked at how we could underwrite it reliably, sustainably, responsibly, all that good stuff. And in just a couple weeks, that is going to be part of our appetite because of the requests for that kind of business we were receiving. So here in the optional coverages page, this has a great feature. I talked to a lot of agents who are growing their team or maybe transitioning from kind of being focused on personal lines to commercial. They don't always feel super confident going through a submission, even though with us, I mean, you could see how quick and easy it is. But say you're not sure, for example, like what hired non-owned auto might cover, when that might come into play, you can hover your mouse over this little question mark icon and get some additional context behind that coverage. And so once we've got our optional coverages selected, we have typically about 2 underwriting questions for those. So we'll answer those, confirm that it's eligible, and then click continue. And now that coverage is just going to be included on our BOP. And so at this point, we've got all 4 sections knocked out. Now we can see the magic happen. Click this big, beautiful blue button. And once this little circle starts to spin in the middle of the screen there, that's where the magic happens. It is running a bunch of different checks, some scoring, some reports, accessing a ton of different databases, geolocating the risk. That is what you might be waiting 2 days, 3 days, 3 weeks, I've heard, for an underwriter at a company that doesn't have access to all this great tech to do for you. And you can see here, happen in just seconds. So we have got pricing available either quarterly. For quarterly, it'll tell you what the down payment is and then what each installment is. So it's nice and transparent. And then for annual payments, we do offer a discount for that, and it will tell you exactly what that is as well. We are a direct bill company. In this page, we can set all of our different sublimits and deductibles, make sure that the coverage is going to be a really great fit for this client, taking consideration of all their needs. We can opt out of the TRIA coverage if they want to save $5, go get a cup of coffee. We can include the waiver of subrogation, meet the certificate requirements. We do have a section here that just shows some included coverages. These are not really editable. They're built into the base form. And they're really just there because someone might say to you, hey, this other agent I talked to said business interruption was covered, with this crazy like 3/18 deductible. How do you do it? And then you can look at these, you can say, hey, we're going to cover your actual loss sustained at such and such valuation. So once we've got all of our different deductibles set, quick highlight here as well. We do include some cyber liability. Gotta say that, or the microchip in my neck will shock me. And I always like to highlight here that our cyber coverage is actually underwritten by Beasley. It's the only thing we offer that's not an MGT product. We just thought it was really important to have a true expert in the space be able to respond to those claims, because a lot of the value you get from cyber, I mean, it's the policy limits for sure, but it's really that response and getting the experts who deal with that stuff every single day on your side. So now that we've got everything set up the way we like it, we'll click continue. That's going to, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we got a couple of great questions in, and while you're moving over to the next screen, Diamond had a couple more questions, and y'all can't see it because I blurred my background, but I just turned around and talked to our underwriter Owen, who's right here with me. So it's one of the benefits that Annalise and I have sitting here at the office. We just bug Owen anytime. But perhaps you know this while I'm waiting on a response from Owen. But Epley, are there multiple coverage options, or is it occurrence based? Is it claims made? Does it depend on the insured's operations?
Oh man, I love that question. For EPLI, it is, I think, pretty quick. And actually, let me show you one of the great benefits of our rating system to begin with. If you have any questions about something like that, you can click around and go find answers. So we'll go into optional coverages here. Let's add some employment practices liability and then click continue. And so you actually are able to select claims, or sorry, this is a claims made form, and the experience here should make it pretty clear only that claims made is available. If you try to click on occurrence, I think you can see my mouse. It actually looks like a little no sign. We can set a retroactive date that covers claims that began after that retro date. We'll answer some questions. This one is a little bit more detailed because employee practices liability covers a lot of different situations. So we'll get some answers. You can set different aggregate limits up to $1 million aggregate. That's pretty great. You can set deductibles here. And one very nice feature, the entire way our platform's set up, it will only show you options that are bindable. So for example, if we weren't going to be able to stand behind a $500 deductible for this coverage, then you just wouldn't even see it as an option.
All right, so I'm going to drop Owen's answer in here, but there was actually another great question from Diamond. Fire legal, can we go up to 1 mil?
Yes, we can.
Easy enough.
That's my favorite part about working at a carrier. When you're at a wholesaler, the answer is always it depends. Now I get to give affirmative yeses. So let me go ahead and click through here, get us back to the quote page. And you may have noticed as well, as I've been kind of clicking through here, at the bottom of each page is a button to save your progress. So for example, if you wanted to learn more about what was actually covered under our EPLI, maybe talk to our great underwriting team or Annalise about it, you can save your progress. Everything you answered will be exactly where you left it. Get your questions answered, and then come back in, finish the quote out confidently. And let's see, damage to premises right there. 1 mil. Thank you, Diamond. Great question. Great question. And so we'll click continue back here, get us back to where we were. So in this page, you'll notice all these options now are grayed out. We've kind of said, yes, this is what I want to go forward with. You can print the quote out. That just takes all this, puts it into a nice, neat cover page, nice, neat 3-page PDF with a cover page. You can add your own agency info to that, use it as a proposal, look super professional. And then just scroll down here to the bottom and click confirm and purchase. And then in this next page, we will have the option to either send this to the prospect. We've just found over the years, not everybody loves to give their credit card information over the phone. And honestly, we're covering them for cyber liability. So I appreciate that. But, if they would prefer to just get an email with payment link, that's completely fine. Punch in their email address here, fire that off to them. Or if they are with you or they are willing to give their credit card info over the phone, just click purchase now. This is exactly what it'll look like when they get that payment link as well. You would just select annual or quarterly. Again, very transparent. Select e-check, credit, or debit. I always like to highlight here as well, we do not have any payment fees, no matter how they choose to pay. And I will say in my time, I've seen big deals blow up over $5 payment fees. Don't let that happen to you.
Yeah, and I will just from my personal experience as well, add some flavor to that. One of the benefits of working with MGT is that we're a carrier, right? MGAs typically have to include fees because they're just trying to take a cut as the middle person moving between you and the program manager whose paper it's on. So if they add fees, they get a little bit of extra money in their own pockets. We don't have to do that here. We've cut them out, cut out the middle person as the carrier ourselves. We work directly with you and your insured, so you're not going to see that kind of stuff coming through on ours. So another awesome benefit of working with MGT. Dan, we've got an amazing question coming up, so you got to wrap this up so I can ask it to you.
Awesome. Well, we're almost at my favorite part. So once we put in all the payment information, we can turn auto pay off, although it is pre-selected to be on, make things easy to manage. All we have to do here is put in their email address, agree they're allowed to purchase the policy, and then click submit payment. As soon as that payment goes through, you'll see a nice little pop-up box that says, thank you for binding this policy with MGT. You'll have instant access to the policy documents, so you don't have to wait on us to go ahead and issue it 30 days later. And we will also send the policyholder an invitation to our platform so they can do some of those self-service tasks we looked at the beginning. So, and I think my version takes a little bit longer. When you are going through without the narration, you'll be able to knock these out typically in 6 minutes or less. And I hope you can all see now how over 80% of our policies go from logging in to start a quote to bound and issued in 10 minutes or less, which ultimately, yes, our goal is for sure to help small businesses protect their investments. But really what we like to do is give you time back in your day. So you could spend less time working on paperwork, less time cutting through red tape, jumping over hurdles, doing all those things to distract you from what you really like to do every single day when you come into the office, sell insurance.
Great, Dan. Excellent job, man. That's a great way to close it out too. But perhaps even better, we got a question from Alan. He wants to know, how many policies do I need to sell to get a jacket like that?
I would say, Alan, if you bind 5 with us this month, I will send you a jacket just like
Oh
this.
my gosh, 5. I'm gonna get my license in Colorado. Well, actually, I already have it. I'm gonna start binding policies here in Colorado just so that I can get it as well. I love it. Best way to end this. Y'all, if you've got any other questions after this, Annalise, you're already on top of it. Annalise shared all of our contact info. The three of us here, we interact with agents all day, every day, and we do it because we love to. That's why you see us so excited here on the webinar. We would love for you to come back again. I don't know if there'd be much of a point. You've already gotten through it. But if you want to come back and have fun and ask amazing questions, see Dan's jackets, we host this every single week. So send the rest of your team. I'm going to make sure an email gets out to you with a link to this so that you can, share that with the rest of your team if needed. But y'all, thank you so much for coming today. It was a pleasure to kick off with this amazing group of agents.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Again, if you need to get in contact with us, you can email support@MGT or give us a call. Thank you all for joining.
Well, one question we get all the time is, what does MGT stand for? I hope this last 35 minutes, it stood for mighty good time, because that's what I've had. And thank you all for taking some time for us.
Perfect. Have a great day, everybody.